and welcome to my home. I'm Lorena Brewster, and I'm going to go over with you about some tips and how you can turn a very popular diet that's going on right now, and it's a very good diet, it's not just a fad. And I'm going to show you, the purpose of the show is how to adapt that diet, which tends to be a little bit expensive, to a more manageable as far as your pocket is concerned. So I created the show, my Cheap Paleo, and I've had some people tell me or ask me, why do I call it cheap? Well, my response is, there's nothing wrong with cheap. Cheap is good. And they say, well, why don't you call it paleo on the budget or something? And my response again is, I don't want anything on the budget. I want it better than the budget. And that's why I came up with these recipes where I think it's going to save some, quite a bit of money, and I'll explain you how. In the Paleolithic diet, we have a few staples I want to go over with you. One of them is the almond flour, which is made of nuts. And usually you can buy these at Amazon.com. It's the cheapest I've seen, for $35 for a 5-pound bag. So that's a lot more than what I can afford on a regular basis. Another flour that is very good is coconut flour. And this one, I bought it at BJ's, I think for like $4. And it was with a coupon, so you can keep an eye on coupons for that. This one is flaxseed meal, also very inexpensive. And this other one is tapioca flour, which you can probably buy at any supermarket for maybe $2 to $3. And another staple is honey. So because on this diet you cannot have sugar. And you can also not have any kind of grain, and I'll explain why. And you also use, generally speaking, coconut oil instead of any fats, including dairy. And another staple one is sea salt, which is much healthier for you than refined salt. Okay, now why are we using these different kind of staples? Because the Paleolithic diet is what they call the caveman diet, which I think is not really correct. Because last time I haven't seen any saber-toothed tiger or anything in the supermarket or any things like that. But back in the old days, before 10,000 years ago, when civilization came about and so did agriculture, the people only ate nuts and meats, fish, wild chickens, wild turkeys, and they didn't have dairy because they didn't have domesticated cows. And they basically ate natural foods. But again, natural foods can be expensive nowadays, even with discounts and so forth. And that's why I created this video, to show you a few recipes on how to make it adapted to you. So let's get started on our recipe for my chocolate chip, very gooey chocolate chip cookies. And let me show you what we're going to use. We're going to use almond flour, some tapioca flour, some agave, some honey, coconut oil, which I already pre-measured most of the ingredients. And then we're going to have an egg. And I want to bring up a subject here, which is the chocolate chips. We have two kinds here because this one is very expensive. It's this brand here, which you can buy for about $4 to $5 at Walmart. Also you have this other brand, which you can buy on sale for $1.99 or $2. So I mix them up. Some recipes online, says just to use this, but both is 60% cocoa. And both don't have a whole lot of sugar, because as I said before, sugar is not allowed on the Paleolithic diet, refined sugar. And somebody asked, well, how come you're using chocolate? Chocolate is, it's not good for you. But I disagree. I think it's great for you. We need to live in this life and have some fun. Sometimes it's not all about just going crazy dieting. Okay, so let's get started. In a large bowl, you're going to mix all the dry ingredients, and here I have a cup of almond flour and 2 tablespoons of tapioca flour. Now, in some recipes, they only use a cup and a half of almond flour, so I substitute to save some money on that. So you do that, and then a 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then you mix it all up. And you know, some people say to sift it. I don't even have a sifter, so it goes just like that. On another bowl, you're gonna mix all the wet ingredients, the egg. Always break it in a separate bowl in case you don't want to get some surprises with the egg. So you have it there, and give it a quick mix. And then you're gonna add, this is already pre-measured, and here I have 2 tablespoons of honey and 1 tablespoon of agave. Some people ask for just agave. Again, it's a very expensive product. It's about $9 a bottle, whereas honey, you can buy it for maybe $4 or $5 for a big bottle. And then you have 1/4 cup of coconut oil. Now I use coconut oil for baking, and generally I use olive oil for whenever we're cooking other things in the stove. But for baking, I do not use olive oil. And then we have vanilla. Gotta have vanilla on everything. And for that I use 1 teaspoon. Mix it all up. Then mix with the dry ingredients. Now it's time to mix the chocolate chip. Now again, this is half a cup of the expensive chocolate chip, and this is about 3/4 of a cup. Okay, now the dough rested for about 15 minutes in the fridge. Then you just spoon it, into the baking sheet, and you already pre-warmed the oven at 350, and you're gonna go ahead and put it in the oven. So I put the cookies in the oven, and that's gonna bake for about 5 minutes. It's very, very fast, so you really need to keep an eye on it. And you take a look at it and see if it's browning just a little bit around the cookie. You don't want it to brown very much. And if it's already browned after 5 minutes, great. If not, just put in a couple more minutes and watch it, and then take it out. I'll show you what it looks like as soon as it's finished baking. Now, while the cookies are baking, I just want to bring up a few more things on the Paleolithic diet. And the reason why I decided to start doing that is because I looked up online, and there's a lot of information, so I really recommend you look at it, and you're going to see what it can and cannot do. But very briefly, here are some of the things that you can not eat on a diet. Now, okay, so what can you eat? Here's a sample of the typical plate for dinner or lunch in the Paleolithic diet. Now, as I was saying, there's a lot of information online, in a lot of recipe books, and I was reading up on some of the research, and they say some of the studies show that 70% of the stuff that we eat nowadays, it's not included in the Paleolithic diet. And you know, it's all very unhealthy, especially grains, rice, flours. And I've had people ask me, you know, how can you not eat that stuff? Today everything is flours, wheat flours. And I said, well, you know, you don't have to eat that. You can substitute. I'm not giving up pasta or pizza or anything like that. I just adapted to the Paleolithic diet, which it comes out absolutely wonderful. Whoops. It looks a little fat, but it's going to go down, and I will show you once it cools down enough so I can break them up and you can see what it looks like inside. Okay, so here are my cookies, and let me break one up so you see what it looks like inside. This is nice and warm. You know, you like I said, you can put as many chocolate chips as you want. You know, you have to live and enjoy life, as I said earlier. And, you know, you just be happy. Oh, there you go. So let me give it a try. This is so good. And it's very hard to stop at 2, because that's what I try to just eat. And you definitely don't want to eat this, you know, every day of the week, but treat yourself 2 to 3 days to the, you know, adapted desserts, and enjoy. Now, if you decide to give it a try, I do have some recommendations, and one is for you to not, you know, jump in right away. Sort of, you know, make it graduate. Start cutting out things a little at a time. Try not to eat the sugary cereals in the morning at first, and you know, so go little by little. I just want to point out that I started doing this in March of this year, and I already lost 15 pounds just being on this diet, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. I eat very healthy, I have a lot of energy, and I really love everything about it. It's become very easy. It's a lifestyle now for me, it's not a diet. And I hope you will be able to get to that point someday. And if you have any comments or questions, just post it on the video, and I'll be happy to answer. And if you want, my recipe will be at the end of the video as well, and so that you can write it down. Okay? Thanks everybody, and happy paleo, and save some money and have fun.